Good morning. Welcome. Welcome, Sunny. Hi, Fleur. Hi, Zany. Good morning, everybody. Second last session together. I'm excited. What are my mornings going to hold? This morning I had to kind of race through my breakfast because straight after I'm running the philosophy training. So kind of a little bit, hope I don't have anything in my teeth. Hi Nazna, good morning. Hi Lila, hey Belle, good morning Simone. Nice to see you here. Karen and one other, whoever that one other is who joined. Hi Stefania. Hi Estienne, is that Esther? Good morning Mel and everybody else. Hi Karen and Chris. So yeah, I feel like I'm still kind of having a little bit of tea, finishing off my breakfast in my mouth. Sorry everybody. Always lovely to see your face, Simone. Great to have you. Hi Andy. Hi Jordan, Edgley Designs. And Alicia, welcome. Good morning Chris and Catherine. It's Esther. Hi. And Haley, wow, it's been pretty cold here in Melbourne. Cranking the heaters, this part of town. Oh, thanks. Yeah, this one is a very soft one. It's one of those ones that's also extremely impractical because it gets caught on everything. So, but you know, sometimes I whip it out. Ciao, Simone. Good morning, good morning. So I had a couple of questions sent in. Carwin area Lou. What does that mean? Second last session, you're working through your grief. Oh, thanks Warren, that means a lot to me. But we'll be kind of talking a little bit about that through Teresa's question. Good morning Georgia and Katie. Catherine. Can we extend a hello to those parents and guardians who are sending off the final batch of kids to school? You can do it. Say hello to all of them. Hello, Sarah. Car windscreen was frozen this morning. Oh, where were you going this morning before 8:30? Who leaves the house before then? Oh, yes, I know. Good morning, everybody. So the two questions that I'll talk to today before we get into our meditation, one is on consecration and whether you can consecrate for other people. Hi Judy. And yes, you 100% can. But when you think about what you're consecrating, you don't want to offer up all of the karmic fruits. Are you sure this is the second last session? Maybe it could be the second last month instead. You're cute. I've got to do this so I can read the writing. The boy told me as he left. I don't know what that means. So consecration. When you feel like there's somebody who really needs some help, then what you can do is, with your practice, you can offer up all of the positive karmic fruits. So all of the good that you're accumulating, you can offer it up to somebody who you know needs that energy. So when you're doing the consecration, and we've done it before last week with the protests, we offered up all of the positive karmic fruits to those people who needed it. And it's a different experience. And for me, when I first started to consecrate, that was the practice that I did because I couldn't quite get my head around the idea of giving it all up to divine consciousness. And it is completely fine. If you prefer to do that, then you don't have to offer it up to a greater power or your highest self or divine consciousness. If it doesn't make sense to you yet, do what makes sense to you. And then eventually it will make sense. It's this weird thing where something just drops and you realize that when you offer it up to that greater power feeds everything. I mean, you're welcome to be specific with one person, but that greater power is looking after that person. It's looking after the people who are, experiencing tragedy. It's looking after, the plants. It's looking after the comets. It's like, and it's all effortless. So we don't have to worry about it. But what we can say is, I'm going to offer it all up to you. And in that way, everything is going to be taken care of. And I can just kind of let go of the selfish reasons that I do everything, because we're doing this practice from an intellectual level to help ourselves. Maybe it's to help ourselves be better people, which is a valuable intention, or it is an intention with integrity. But in my houseplants, yes. When I consecrate to divine consciousness, I know that all of my houseplants are going to be taken care of. That's why they look so good. They're looking so good. The one with the pink flowers is just like, love my planties. Proud plant mama. But you can get specific, and sometimes I will. I'll be like, there's been some people, especially people who you struggle with, where I've really, I'm going to offer up all of the positive karmic fruits up to that person, because they are in so much suffering. They are in so much pain. They need this. They really need it. Or it could be somebody that you love, and I've done that too, where you really I hate seeing them go through this, so I'm going to really send them out the good juju. So thank you, Bree, for that question. And the second question came from Teresa, and it was about having an injury and not being able to do her yoga asana practice. And I've had many injuries across my life. Oh, you know what? Before I get into that, why don't we consecrate? Because I was just talking about consecration. And we'll consecrate for the satsang, we'll consecrate for the practice that comes after. So let's rub the hands together. Press them, rest them. We'll start with a round of deep breath in the nose, out of the mouth. One round, gaze towards the third eye. And consciously, we move into a positive state of mind. We let go of all selfish intention, all of the grasping of our everyday mind, the me, the mine, the what do I want. And we elevate our consciousness. And we sit in a space that is connected to all of humanity, that asks, how can I help? That is divine, that is without need, that rests in divine consciousness. And from that elevated state, we'll flower the fingers open like a lotus, a beautiful offering. And we offer up all of the karmic fruits that are positive, all good, that might come from this practice. And we offer it up to somebody who really needs it. Bring to mind that person and silently offer it up to them. bring the palms to touch. Rather than feeling the heat of the light in the palms of your hands. And then cup the eyes. And take one breath in. Exhale out. And release the hands slowly from the eyes and gently blink them open. So now we are consecrated for this whole practice. And I'll move on to the next question. And the next question was about being injured and not being able to do an asana practice. And as I said, I have had a lot of injuries. So the first one that I had was a really severe hamstring tear. I could barely walk. That one happened in India. And my teacher, because I was in India just so bendy, something happened when I moved to India. I was talking about it the other night. Like I was kind of good at yoga. I'd been doing it for 11 years, but I wasn't really great. I was still pretty stiff. And then I went to India and suddenly my whole body opened up. And my teacher was like, Sayan, do the splits. Sure, no problem. And then when you're in the splits, you take the back leg and you kind of put your head to the back leg, but front leg is forward. And I was doing that and it was too early in the class. And I just heard this, and somebody was like, oh my God, did your pants rip? And I was like, no. That was my leg ripping. It was a big old tear. And yeah, so I couldn't really walk. I think I was in shock. That night I still went out to a party. I went to some fashion opening. I went to the Vogue shopping night out fashion opening. I must have been totally in shock. And so I couldn't practice normally. But 4 months later, I was doing my teacher training and I just went softly. It was pretty crazy. It was really, really a bad injury. And it didn't stop me, Teresa. It did for a bit, but okay, so you're struggling with it. I didn't struggle with the stopping because the yogi isn't attached to the yoga. That's this practice. You can't be attached to any of it. You can't be attached to me and these mornings. You can't be attached to going to your favorite yoga class because it will all end. It all ends. Everything passes and shifts, which is great when you're in a really kind of crappy situation. When you hear that, you're like, oh my God, this is going to end. Thank God. But when you're in something that you love or when you say goodbye to something that you love, it's very hard to know that it has to end because all things do. So there needs to be a level of acceptance. You're so attached to these mornings. Yes, well, together we are learning acceptance. And look, the thing is, like a great lover, they might come back again. Who knows? Maybe I'll come back for a week in a few months, or I'll do the odd guest appearance and put it out on Instagram, and we'll all, join up again. Even the saying goodbye isn't necessarily forever, and the same goes for the practice. Be okay with not practicing. You need to find acceptance. Because when you're not in acceptance, you're creating suffering, and you're also kind of living in a fantasy world, really, when you don't accept the reality of a situation. And we all do it when it's really hard. It's that denial phase, which is actually like a form of craziness, really, to be like, no, I'm not going to accept that. I don't want it. I want it to go back to normal. So on one level, you have to accept and be okay with actually not doing a certain part of your practice. And on the next level, it gives you an opportunity to expand. Every injury I have had has been my biggest teacher. And I know that for all people who have gone through sickness or have something that they have to work with consistently in their body, you know, it could even be somebody who was consistently overweight, or for me it was migraines as well. It took me down a path to try and discover how to heal myself. So what is the path towards healing for you? How does that look, and what will that open up in you? Because your body is telling you something. You know, I was completely overstretching myself in my practice. I was overstretching myself in my life. I was running around like all corners of Bombay, you know, earning just the worst money and like expending myself creatively and constantly giving. And my body was like an elastic band and it snapped. And your body is your consciousness. So look deeply into your injury. What is your injury telling you? What do you need to stop? What is the weight on your shoulders? You know, what burdens are you carrying, and how do you need to adjust your life and adjust your practice? And, you know, it doesn't actually mean that you have to stop physically moving. There are many, many things that you can do. There are a million things that you can do to continue to move your body. So even if it was walking or gentle stretching or a yin class. I also injured my shoulder 5 years ago, and I still taught. Like, I injured it while I was teaching at a studio that I taught full time at. I was doing a class, my shoulder completely gave way, and that again shifted my practice. You know, I was doing a lot of handstands, I was doing a lot of like kind of strong upper body work, and I had to give all that up. I had to give up this whole idea of, you know, to be a good yogi, you have to be good in the postures. And all of my injuries have brought great softness to my practice when I was a very intense person. And I didn't actually stop. I mean, like I said, I did my teacher training and I was so gentle with myself, and I learned how to do a physical practice with like a gentleness, with a tenderness to myself. And when I hurt my shoulder, I just didn't do downward dogs, and I had to let go of my ego. Like, I can do a downward dog, everyone, you know, you just want to tell everyone, like, I can do it, I'm just on all fours because I've got an injury. You know, how much of it is your ego stepping in? And the yogi lets go of all of that. You let go of the practice, you let go of everything, you let go of your ego. Look at where that struggle is coming from, Teresa. What are you struggling with? It's just yourself. Yes, you gotta be like, okay with having an injury. It will heal in time. It will heal in time. But until then, there are so many other practices. You can move your body in a million different ways. You can adjust your physical practice. And to drop into that transcendent state that perhaps you experience through yoga, you can do that through mantra, meditation, breath work. And that's the thing about yoga, it's not only for the able-bodied. That's what's so beautiful about it. You know, if you're stuck in bed or if you have intense depression and you can't get out, stay in bed and do your breath exercises. Meditate more and see what beauty this injury has really created in your practice, the subtleties that open up for you. And maybe it's time for you to move beyond just the physical aspect. And I'm not saying that for you personally, but I mean, you know, in terms of all of those of us who are really attached to a physical practice. Thanks, Catherine. Give your injury love and attention rather than anger and frustration. Yeah, that's right. I mean, be really grateful. I know somebody last night who has got a chronic illness who said, well, 2 nights ago, said to me, it's the biggest gift I was ever given. And this is a chronic illness that nobody would want. And she's like, this is changing my life for the most positive ways. And, you know, also another student of mine who had cancer said it just changed her life. And I mean, this is just a shoulder injury. This is something that will potentially get better. It'll be something you might have to work with for the rest of your life, yes, but you know, all these things that happen for us are great gifts. They are great gifts. We just need to be able to have that perspective, which is a dharmic perspective rather than a karmic one. When you had the car accident, you couldn't do asana, it was so hard, so you had to do meditation. Yeah, that's right. This has been one of the best things, so blessed. Oh, for your energy and kindness. What are the best ways to set ourselves up for continuing meditation? Maybe I'll talk about that one tomorrow, because it's 8:52 and I gotta do philosophy now. Let's have a little stretch. And now move into meditation. Center the spine. Take a deep breath in the nose, out of the mouth, and soften into your posture. The mantra that we will use today is Aham, Brahmasmi. I am that creative force of the universe. Together we can repeat it out aloud. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. Softer. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. Till it becomes a whisper. And then the mantra becomes silent. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. And when the mind is distracted with thought, gently bring it back to this mantra. Aham, Brahmasmi. Aham, Brahmasmi. And go as deeply as you can into this mantra for the final few moments. completely absorbed, full focus on the mantra. Now, unshackle yourself from the mantra. Release your grip, let it fade. Release any attachment. Let the mantra go. And experience your consciousness without an anchor. Om Bhadram Karnevihi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhirya Chatraha Stirerengai Stushtuvargam Sastanubihi Dhyashema Devahiteng Yadayuhu. May we have eyes that are open to see the lessons that we need, ears to hear them, and a body that is awakened to them. Together, let's chant the final mantra, Om Shanti, 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 together, one breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We bow our heads to our capacity to accept and sit in truth, the wisdom of the yogi, to that we know is within us, that we see in all those who join us. To that we bow and say, Namaste, Namaste.